Alright, this is video 2. Have collection agencies been calling you? I'm going to show you how to make them stop for free. They should never feel like you're being harassed or forced to pay. They should never yell. They should never use profanity. They should never threaten to sue you. I put everything you need to know: how to stop the calls, how to file a complaint, how to get your credit bureau, how to file a dispute, have a debt removed from your credit bureau. I've also listed the rules the collection agencies have to follow in each province, free tools to find anyone online. So I'm basically showing you what they use so you can get yourself off of these websites, or at the very least have your privacy settings changed so that you can't be found. The first thing you're going to need to do is send a letter, and this letter is going to tell them to stop collect their calls. You want everything in writing, and you're also going to ask them for proof of the debt. So this tells you when the contract was and the last time you made a payment. So if you, let's say you got your credit card and you got the credit card in 2000, and in 2005 it went into collections and you stopped paying it in 2007, right? That's 7 years. That means that that credit card's no longer valid. That debt is no longer valid in any province, right? So you've got to know exactly when the last time you made a payment. And whatever you do, do not make a payment on a debt you've already stopped making payments on and it's already gone to a collection agency. Because as soon as you do that, you're going to reset the date back to 0. So it's just as though you just got the loan. So unless you're planning maybe a settlement or whatnot, but still, you're never going to give them a payment unless you're going to settle the debt. And in that case, you're going to get a letter from them with proof that they're going to settle the debt for, let's say it's a $5,000 debt for $2,500. And once you got that proof, you're going to get a trust account number, and they're going to send you all that by mail. So the trust account information and the letter. So that way when you pay the bill, you automatically have proof that as soon as you paid this debt, your account was going to be settled, and you have the proof is the amount that you sent to the bank, right? So in some cases, the creditors will ask for more. They'll say, oh, well, if you want to settle one of our debts, we have to prove to the creditor that you're not able to pay the full debt. So in those cases, they might ask you for a proof of income, so like a copy of your pay stub. They might ask you for just an FCA, so a basic profile of what your income and expenses are, right? So you're not going to give them any information yourself, right? And the only time you would is if they offered you a settlement and you actually wanted to take it. So let's say, for example, you send them this letter saying you want no more calls, right? And they decide, oh, we're just going to send them a settlement letter and see if they want to settle the debt. And the only time you should settle the debt is if you know for sure that the statute of limitations haven't expired and that they're not going to expire really soon. You know what I mean? The laws are a little bit sticky here. So let's say, for example, the debt's still valid in the province that you're in. So let's say you're in one of these provinces where it's 6 years from the date of last payment and the debt's still valid. If they have where you work and they have your whole financial record, it's a lot easier for them to try and take legal action. So I went into this part a little bit before, but I want to go into it with a lot more detail this time. Okay, so let's say, for example, you have a debt, right? And I don't know what state you're in right now with the collection agency. My best bet would always be to send the do not call letter, and that kind of puts them in a position where you a settlement, they're just going to drop the debt, or they might try and sue you. And the only times they're going to sue you is if, A, remember when we said you wanted proof of the debt? So they're supposed to send you the signed contract. So if they can't find this contract, right, up until the time you get this contract, you're okay, right? But let's say they do find the contract, because they're going to need that to sue you. And if you ask them for it and they don't give it to you, that means they don't have it, right? If they're giving you some excuse, oh, it's too hard to get, blah, 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 they need that. And if they don't have it, if they have it, why are they not sending it to you? It's illegal for them not to try and collect the debt and not give you proof that you owe the debt, right? That alone is illegal, okay? So, again, you want to look at how many years it's been. The first thing you're going to do is send them the letter if you don't want any more calls, right? And if they do call you back, then they've already broken the rules, and you can make a complaint. That's the next part that I hadn't gotten into. The credit bureau. This is important too. So as soon as you find out about this website, first thing you're going to do if you have a printer is print out these letters, and just one letter. You don't need, if this is the first one, is if it's just you dealing with the debt. I want them to stop calls to me, period, right? And anybody else that they might call. And then the second one is if you have a lawyer. It doesn't even have to be a collection lawyer or whatever. If you know a lawyer, ask him if he's willing to put his name down, and then from there you send them a letter saying you want all calls directed to your lawyer, right? And that's kind of you giving them a bit of a push. This one says a pre-written collection agency letter saying you dispute the debt. So this kind of puts the debt into a mid area. So let's say, for example, you ask them for the contract, right? And they can't come up with the contract. Now you know they're stuck. So you're going to send them a letter saying, oh, we dispute the debt. We've asked for information. The contract that I originally signed on whatever date it says on your credit bureau, that, and if they don't have that, then send them this saying the debt is in dispute. At that point, unless they can somehow dig up that contract and send it to you, it's pretty much, they're not going to do anything, right? I'm just giving you all the possibilities because I want to kind of prepare you in case of any possibilities. But really, collection agencies, of the debt that they get, it's very rare that they even talk to 5% of the people. It's just a matter of the phone numbers, right? And if they don't have a phone number, there's probably 1,000 other files that they don't have a phone number for, and it's really hard to kind of find someone that's lost. But if they've already got your number and they're already harassing you, and hopefully they don't know where you work yet, and you can take the steps to make sure they don't find out, that kind of protects you. And if the debt statute bar, then they shouldn't be calling it all. That's the end of it. Once they send that letter, the debt statute bar, sorry, too bad. This is where you request your credit bureau. So the first one's Equifax, the second one's TransUnion, right? And this letter goes to the collection agency when you tell them you dispute the debt. This letter goes to the credit bureau, and that tells them that you dispute the debt, because you want it to show on your credit bureau that that debt is in dispute. That makes it so when you're trying to get credit in the future, they know, hey, look, this is something that was on there. We can't get it off because you can't delete off of the credit bureau. It's really, really rare that they'll delete something, but you can get it marked as a dispute. So you want to send them this letter. Hopefully they don't ever send you back the letter that they have the contract and it turns out it is the one in this time, it turns out it's not in this time and they never send you anything, which is probably going to be 95% of the time, they're not even going to bother to contact the client and ask them for this information unless they really think that you're able to pay the debt, right? So if they, like, it's two different stories. If you have a really good job and you got a call at work and this is kind of something that is within the statute of limitations, and they do have the original signed contract, this is something where it's probably going to be in your best interest to try and settle it or do something. There's a good rule. They're only allowed to pursue legal action against you if you're not making payments. So if you're in this position where I just said they know where you work, the statute's not over, maybe you just stop paying it, right? And you don't want them to sue you, really the minimum thing you can do, and this will make it so they can't sue you at all, is send them payments. It can be in whatever amount. I had one person that used to send me $1 a month every month, sent 100 post-dated checks for $1 a month. Because you're making payments on the debt, they can't pursue legal action, right? So that's kind of a good trick there, and that will get you out of that bind. But if you're making payments on that debt, that means that debt's going to sit as a bad debt on your credit bureau forever. Because the only time it'll get updated or erased is if it passes the statute of limitations and falls off. That means you weren't paying any payments on it. It's just been sitting dead for 6 years, and then they take it off. Or if you settle your debt or you pay your debt in full. So if you're in a position where you've got a good job and all of a sudden all this debt is coming at you, student loan debt, blah, 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 right? You can go ahead and send all of them $5 or $1 payments, but it really makes more sense for you at this point to go bankrupt. And there's a ruling now that after 5 years of your student loans, even if you're up to date with your student loans, after 5 years you can go bankrupt on that. So really, if you have a bunch of debt hanging over your head, including student loan debt, and it's been 5 years since you got out of school, go bankrupt, get it all gone, right? The way bankruptcy works, I'm really going through too much again in one video. The way bankruptcy works is you're going to have to make payments for about a year, right, to a bankruptcy trustee. Those payments are going to be sent to the creditors, and after the end of that year, you're free, right? Especially if it's the first time you've gone bankrupt. And you're allowed to keep your car, you're allowed to keep, it varies per province, but you're allowed to keep about $2,000 of your income, too. So you got your car, you're getting $2,000 a month for a year, and once that year's over, boom, you start again from scratch. You're dissolved from bankruptcy. And you can start rebuilding your credit right away. I'm going to keep adding pages to the site, and I'm going to keep adding videos. And the way to start rebuilding your credit, again, going really fast, too fast, but the way to rebuild your credit is to get a prepaid credit card. And they can't deny you a credit card. This isn't one of those prepaid credit cards, sorry. You want a secured credit card. That way it's actually on the credit bureau. So let's say you go to a bank and you ask them for a credit card, and they say no. You're allowed to put $500 or $200 or whatever amount down on hold, right? And they'll have to give you the credit card for that amount. And they're only allowed to hold the security for, in most cases, a year. So after a year, you've still got that $1,000 credit card, and you got your money back, and you're building your credit, right? As long as you're using it and you're paying it every month, you're good. Unfortunately, I've got 15